Hey, MCE crew, the S&P 500 is down over 17% for the year. There's a lot going on in the world, okay? But listen, this decrease in the value of the equities markets is not something you should fear. I just want to put that out there. This is actually a time where you should be searching for bargains. You should be doing your due diligence because the market is on sale right now. Now, maybe it's the end of the world. Maybe all of the stuff that is going on in the world will just culminate in an alien invasion like Battle Los Angeles. You ever see that movie? That's a fine, fine movie. Should have won several Academy Awards, but oh well. Anyway, maybe the whole thing ends up like that, in which case, your stocks won't matter. Your real estate portfolio won't matter. But unless that happens, those things will matter at some point. So you've got some variables that you've got to think about: your age, okay, which will indicate your time horizon for investing, and also what you should be invested in terms of, how assertive it is, what asset classes you might want to pay attention to, what you feel most comfortable with. There are some variables that you have to decide what those are for yourself and do your due diligence and fundamental analysis of whatever asset you're trying to get into. Now, there is an asset that is out there that is going to, in my opinion, become one of the greatest opportunities that the world has ever seen here very soon. And it's going to put you in the mind of, you're going to be like, you know what? If you've ever sat around and said, oh man, I wish I had been alive when that whole oil thing got started up. I could have been as big as J.P. Morgan and John D. Rockefeller and everybody who was involved during those times. I could have been just as big as them, or bigger. Or you might say, when that whole internet craze and the computer revolution happened, I could have been right up there with the big boys like, Michael Dell and Steve Jobs and all those guys, if I'd have been around. Well, this is an opportunity that may look a lot like that for you as we move further into, like I said, the 21st century. Now, what am I talking about? I'm actually talking about the natural resource. The one natural resource that if we do not have it, nothing else matters. Water. I'm talking about water. And without water, of course, we know we can't live. In fact, water is so important that when we go to other planets and send probes out to other planets and other celestial bodies, that's the first thing we start looking for, because it's indicative of life as we know it. And we know that if we find water, there's a good bet we're going to find life. Now, let me tell you something. Water on the earth is plentiful, okay, to a great extent. There's a lot of water out there, but there's not a lot of water that we can actually drink. So 0.5% of the world's water is actually drinkable, okay, or fresh water. Only 0.5%. Now, if we kind of broke that down into, let's say we had 26 gallons of water, okay? That was all the water in the world, all of the water in the world. If we had 26 gallons of it, then 0.5% of that would be 1/2 teaspoon. So out of 26 gallons of water, only 1/2 teaspoon is available to be consumed by not just us, but our crops and our livestock as well. All right. So there you have it. That is all we've got to work with. And there are some areas on this planet that are, experiencing a state of scarcity when it comes to water. And you might think about places in South America or Africa, but right here in the state of the communist mini country of California, we have a drought situation. And Governor Gavin Newsom is warning that Californians are going to face some mandatory water restrictions because this drought is worsening. California Governor Gavin Newsom has called on water associations to take aggressive actions, that's a quote, to increase water conservation, and warned that mandatory water restrictions may lie ahead this summer if the state does not significantly cut down on consumption. Now remember, California gets a lot of its water from the mountains north of the state. And California is a large part of it is desert, okay, that through the wonders of modern technology, we've been able to basically irrigate and make home to millions and millions of people who consume water. Newsom made the comments during a meeting with leaders from the state's largest urban water suppliers, including those covering Los Angeles, San Diego, and the San Francisco Bay Area, and water associations on May 23rd, amid worsening drought conditions. Every water agency across the state needs to take more aggressive actions to communicate about the drought emergency and implement conservation measures. This is a quote from Newsom. California made significant changes since the last drought, but we have seen an uptick in water use, especially as we enter the summer months. Now, California is not the only place that is experiencing this. South Africa, also a major metropolitan, country. They've got a lot of major metropolitan centers in the country, and is one of the largest economies. They might be, them and Nigeria, the largest economies in Africa. Okay, so they've got a lot going on, but South Africa is experiencing drought conditions as well. Parts of China are experiencing drought conditions as well. So what does that tell you? If there's only so much water to go around, and these major population centers are experiencing drought, then there's money to be made. There's money to be made when people need things that aren't in great supply. So you might say, well, how do you invest in water? How do you do that? Well, water needs to be pumped from one place to another, and there are equipment manufacturers that do that type of construction. They build water pumps and things like that. There's also, and South Africa was working on this a while back, desalination, okay, where they take ocean water and take the salt out of it and make it into fresh water by a very complex process. So look for companies that manufacture desalination equipment, desalination, maybe they operate desalination plants. Water meters. Now, the water meters are going to be essential. Look at what California's saying. They're saying, look, we're in a situation where we're going to have to restrict the water. And in order to do that, you're going to have to monitor water. So you need water meters to do that. Water utilities, environmental companies that clean, purify, and distribute water, okay? Water. You talk about gold, okay? Gold is so valuable because it's so rare. But you know what? We like gold because it's nice and shiny. It's fun to look at. It's fun to hold in your hand, okay? Silver too. But we don't need it to live. Okay, yeah, sure, I get it. There is a trace amount of gold in your body. Okay, I know. We're made of star stuff. But we don't need to consume it every day in order to survive. In fact, if you can go for about 3 days without water, okay? But after that first day, it's going to be pretty rough, okay? In fact, if you try to go a few hours without drinking something, and whatever you drink is composed primarily of water, you try to do that, you're going to start to experience the effects. Now, remember, we're not just talking about water that we consume. That is of vital importance. But also, we need water to irrigate crops, all right? We need water for the livestock. So water is just, it's the absolute most valuable resource on the face of this earth. And as it becomes more scarce, then it's going to become more valuable. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at water investments, how to get it. Now, I think it's going to be more of a long-term thing. That's fine. With me. May not be with you. Take a look at this. This is a graphic that shows you the total amount of water that is on the earth, okay, in comparison to the size of the earth. This is it. And only 0.5% of that, less than 1% of that, is actually able to be consumed by us to keep this, our most valuable asset, operating. Okay, guys, so that's all for now. Just wanted to drop that idea on you. I will talk to you soon.